Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Ah, hello, 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 hello. Greetings, salutations, all the good posh words for hello that there are. Hope all are doing well. Sky and Jeremy. Hope both are good. And yes, Mary and myself are doing well. Mary's getting over a bit of a cold at the moment, so I'll probably have that next week. And the concussion is all gone. I'm concussed free. Just still got a bit of a donk on the head, but we'll get there. Providing I stop and leave it alone. Good morning, Fish Fam. Hello, Adele. I do apologise for the really bad Robin Williams impersonation. And I hope you're at least slightly recovered from your Black Friday experiences, shall we say? It's getting better the older I get, the more I smoke. I'm working on the Bryan Adams voice, that's what it is. Still exhausted, slept all day, bless you. I was trying to think of what my busiest day in retail was. Aside from Christmases, which were always just frigging ludicrous. There was one Sunday when I worked in the model shop. Yella! Don't know why I'm waving, the curtains are drawn, but and I got stuck on my own in the model shop on the said Sunday when we had a big race meeting on. I started about 8:30 in the morning. I didn't get a break. I worked through till about 6. I think we took somewhere near 13,000. Oh, Jeremy got a handheld air pump, loud as can be, perfect when people talk to you. Excuse me. Big Pimpin. Sorry, Shrimpin. How you doing? After 4 hours sleep. Oh, not good. Yeah, it's not good when you don't get a chance to have a break. And Scotty Aquati, see it? Scotty Aquati. But Scotty Aquati rhymes better. So we'll go with that. Yeah, I got one of the All Pond Solutions nano air pumps that are supposed to be low noise and silent. I've got a bunch of the Kambani ones, and those things are silent. So I assumed that they would all be like that until I plugged in the APS one, and it was louder than the big ones I have. It was literally like someone fired up a Harley in the front room. Hello, Patty. So yes, piece of agricultural machinery. Patty, my darling, how are you? Coffee is good. Coffee is always good. Woke myself up, haven't slept till 1 p.m. since I quit drinking. Dang, I know that feeling. I booked the room for the clash. Yeah, Patty saying hit the like button now, peeps. Like Spike. I was say you're a bit late for the clash. That's already happened, or you're getting well ahead for next year. Dang. Yeah. Right, so what has been going on this week in Sharpe land? Working with concussion, that was fun. Going up and down ladders while being rather wobbly, that was interesting. We got through it though. Lots of snugglies and fussies with Ginger Cat. When I fly in for the clash, I'll pick you up. Yeah, I don't think I'd get a visa. I fell upstairs, Adele, and cracked my head on the baluster. So yeah, it just missed because that's where the previous skull fracture is. So it just missed that, thankfully. But yeah, just another concussion in the long list. I forget how many times I've concussed myself or been concussed these days. Probably for the better. No, there was no fate tempting going on. I was completely sober, walking upstairs, and just missed the step. Basically, foot slipped off of it, and down I went. And clonk. Ow, swear, ow, swear, ow, swear, ow. Right, the blood running down the side of my head. Let's sort that out. Yeah, I've done it a few times, just not normally at that point of the stairs, normally a bit earlier. So I guess work, water changes, work. Sad news, cull another spawn of bristlenose eggs. Super reds this time. There was a lot of swearing going on, Terry. Yes, a lot of loud swearing. Then I went for a nap. I thank you. Also, exclusive access to my OnlyFans. Yeah, it's where I pose in bikinis, jiggle my cleavage. And 3G is here. How you doing, Greg? Wife and both kids are all napping. Lottery too. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. No, I have an OnlyFins and an OnlyFans. Neither of them have any subscribers. Apparently, people don't get off to bristlenose, bristle tremblers, bristlegasms. But yeah, so we had to cull another spawn of bristlies. And I spotted we've got a whole heap of shell dweller fry. Managed to count around about 20, but as they're tiny, it's rather tricky to see. But they have done an interesting thing where all the fry, and they're not from one spawn, they're from several spawns. Gotta be. They've basically corralled all the fry in one corner of the tank in like a little nursery area with a couple of the sub-adults basically being nursery teachers or nursery carers. it's actually rather sweet, and it's working quite well so far. So that's all good. Yeah, we've got the usual. Yeah, usual bacterial bloomage going on over there. Despite me pulling out 2 pints of snails from 5 of the tanks during the week. Yes, 2 pints of snails. The birds are happy. Let's put it that way. The birds had a feast. And yes, 2 pints of ram's horns at 50p per ram's horn. That's a lot of money's worth. But when you're getting overpopulated with something, you get rid of the cheapest thing. Yeah, some reason I don't feel bad about culling snails and, well, not culling them, just feeding them to the birds. But I do about bristle noses, which is kind of strange. Now, admittedly, the super reds are worth 7 times what a snail is, but yeah, the snails will soon repopulate. That won't be a problem. I mean, I only bought 6 of them in like March this year. I put 6 in that tank and thought, yeah, maybe I can breed them. Yeah, now I've got blooming thousands of the buggers, and they're turning up all over the place. What else is going on? The baby pelvic acronis are past baby stage now. They're looking like actual fish and swimming around doing their own thing. Yeah, so there's just a few in there. So we've got the pinks, the blues, and randomly getting some ones that are a kind of coppery colour coming through. So they're cool. Sort of a burnt orange looking shell. Very cool colour. I'm just hoping I didn't accidentally throw a bunch of them out the back door and into the pond. Oh, pardon me. Although no doubt the goldfish will eat ramshorn snails if they're in there. They'll easily be able to crunch those shells up in there. Oh God, what's the name? Forgotten it. Pharyngeal teeth, that's it. Green spot puffer a couple months ago, just toss them in his tank every day to keep him in check. That has been a thought. We'll get some pufflets, probably peep. Yeah, go with the peep offers, or something like that. But then, yeah, I then think, yeah, but they're not going to breed. I could put something, if I'm going to have a tank, I could put something in there that I can breed. So yes, that's the other thing I've been up to this week is not only buying red bush tea, also getting some very strange looks off of people as I've been wandering around with a plastic carrier bag picking up leaves. Yes. So we've got a good mixture at the moment. We've got some sycamore, Japanese acer, beech, lime, walnut and oak. So good mixture of leaves to make leaf litter in the bottom of a tank when I do the black water. Yeah, that's the word. Don't stop on the word black, Sharpe. You'll get yourself in trouble. Someone will cut it and accuse you of racism. Yeah. At least I'm not a Spanish paint manufacturer getting berated for putting what my language's native word for the colour black is on the bottle of black paint. Yes. Dumb people's trying to accuse a Spanish paint company of racism for titling their black paint with what the Spanish for black is. Yeah. Yes, the people who were trying that one soon got shot down. There was well, they should change the language then. It's a derogatory term. No, it was a term in Spanish for that colour a long time before it became anything defamatory or derogatory. No. Stop being woke, go back to sleep, let the adults carry on with the world. Cancel Sharpe. Yeah, it probably wouldn't take much to cancel me. I could do with the rest as well. What the heck? If the longest ban I even managed on Facebook was 7 days, and that was for something ludicrous. Not many names left. Hello. How you doing? What part of Wyndham? I lived down on the Lizard many moons ago. Back before it got all poshified, back when it was still all the old workers' cottages and the old Lord of the Manor's house at the end. Yes, I'm in the middle of Attleyburg. Aitlingsburg originally, or just off Barnaborough Road. Cool. So at the other end. Quite literally the opposite corner, as it were. Well, if there was no houses in the way and I threw a tennis ball, I'd hit Sainsbury's. So there we go. Always good to find someone local. Um, Stay away from the Silfield gravel pits. Just saying. If they're still there, that's probably been gentrified now as well. All filled in and made into a housing estate. Always good to find local people around. Do you keep fish or make models or anything such as? Interest in the paranormal. They're the kind of three things that I cover on the channel, along with random waffle and music and movies. And yeah, well, I mean, I moved to Attleborough, oh god, how long ago? 28 years ago. Yeah, ludicrous how quickly the towns are growing. It's just going to be the A11 corridor is just going to be one big settlement all the way from Norwich to Thetford. That's what's going to happen. Then it'll go out towards Swaffham Way, and then it'll just all the roads leading out of Norwich will gradually. Used to have fish, family channel through the haunted lizard property. Ah, cool. Yeah, that's the one I used to live in down there. I assume it's still there, but I think it's probably been slightly modified since then, and the owners probably wouldn't be too happy to know what happened in their former, or in their house. Started watching Sly Stallone series Tulsa King. Not bad so far, you can't talk right. We'll be joined up eventually. It will be. As long as Sylvester Stallone hasn't had to go, Adrian, we'll be okay. Yeah, bad 1970s reference. You gods, I'm old. Yeah, so we talk about all sorts of random stuff in these streams, so don't worry if you're not a fish keeper or paranormalist or anything like that. Oh, got a chink. No, don't call it that. That is racist. But Chinese arriving, nice one. Enjoy and have fun. I hope to see you again. And I can't make it a couple of hours to London. It's more than a couple of hours to get to Whitechapel. That's yeah, that's more. If you go to London, you don't drive. You get the train, and yeah, you know what I nearly called. You know what I nearly called the Chinese, don't you? Yes, what we always used to, which has since been cancelable to say that word. Crypty, howdy Tim, and oh Danny boy. Easy now, folks. Picking up the human fry. Oh dear. Apologies to the human fry for the content they're going to be having to listen to on the way home. Hi, human fry. So yeah, I'd say it's been one of them weeks where it's been busy, but I've not been up to an awful lot, if you know what I mean. Try to remember what the videos were. Monday's video was on the approach from a certain aquarium product manufacturer that everyone seems to have guessed, but I'm still not saying the name, just in case I accidentally libel myself. And if I don't say the name, I can't get done. It's almost like someone's learnt a bit from various laws and things. Big human fries are all right. I think that's what we refer to as a sub-adult. Yeah. Well, like, yeah, work. And then yeah, so Friday's video was as expected, hardly anyone watched. Um, the exterior of Norwich Cathedral, the Anglican variety, and all the history on that. Next week it will be the interior of Norwich Cathedral. So on the Friday, so you definitely want to see that one. But drive away, Dan. Drive safe. Get the Nurk to keep his eye on the road as well. Any junctions, get him to look left. Or juvenile, sub-adult, adult. Yep, pretty much. Usually followed by, oh my God, you're breeding as well now. whether that is fish or children. Um, yes. I still don't want, I mean, they're not even my kids, you know, but I just don't want to, no, my brain can't go there. That Mary's children are active. It's just wrong. No, don't want to know. It's like when you're a kid and you find out your parents still do it. It's, no, we don't need to know. Just the last thing a mother or father wants to hear is, "Oh, do you need me to get you anything while I go shopping? Can you get me a pack of condoms, please?" Oh, no. Mind you, probably not as bad as if the kid's going shopping and goes, "Do you want me to get you anything from the shop, Dad?" "Yeah, a pack of rubbers." See, there are things we just don't need to know. And we have the fish tank t-shirt on today. Unless, of course, the screen is mirrored, in which case it's tank fish. Um, but hey. What else? My bike lights died, which is kind of annoying. Well, it does mean I got one of my Christmas presents early. Uh, Good job I said before I clicked buy now. Otherwise, I'd have two sets. Yeah, it's amazing how much these things have come on because my old bike lights were LED, and they were far brighter than the old kind of incandescent bulb bike lights used to be. And the batteries lasted way longer. But yeah, age and rain finally killed them. The rear one completely died, and then the front one is just dying. So yeah, the sheer brightness of these new, like, oh my God, it doesn't need to be that bright. It's only a bike light. How bright do you need it? It doesn't need to be like a flipping X-ray brightness to be able to see. Generally, if you're cycling at night, between inflation and shrinkflation, overpaying for far less. Yeah, true. And if it's food, that's how they go: reduced fat, reduced sugar, reduced salt, make it really healthy because it's reduced everything bad for you. Then you actually look, and what they've done is they've just dropped the size of the portion. So instead of being a 300-gram packet, it's now a 250-gram packet. You go, yeah, that's why it's reduced. There's less of it in the first place. Reduced flavour. Indeed, Terry, fat means flavour. And despite the bad rap that fat gets in food, it's probably not as bad as they were making out it is. I think they're finally realizing it's these sedentary lifestyles that are causing the issues, not the diet, because diet hasn't changed much. But instead of people working, doing a physical job all day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day down the pit or whatever, see you later. They'll have a good one, whether you're off to work or going to bed, whichever one. Yeah, so we used to do more physical, more manual work. We didn't have all the tech that does things for us these days. You know, even the lowly housewife. You know, he says that ironically. You know, even if you had a twin tub washing machine, you were still moving the clothes from one tub to the other and doing all the stuffs and putting them through the mangle. And if you didn't have that and you were washing your clothes by hand and then chopping everything by hand and cooking everything by hand, you know, it was, yeah, sweeping rather than using a vacuum cleaner. You know, all these things that make our lives easier mean that our diet needs to change accordingly. So if you take all that into account and then someone going to work and sitting behind a desk for 8 hours, yeah, that's when the fat becomes a problem. If you burn it off, actually use the energy that you're intaking rather than, yeah, that's my theory anyway. This is not medical advice. Do not consult your doctor. Um, don't follow what Sharpe says because he self-medicates. I mean, I may not do the most physical job, but I am on my feet for the whole shift, and I cycle there and back. I just have a good nap and a pig out when I get home. Um, you know, I got to an age where I just don't care anymore. When you get to the age where people don't go, oh no, they died so young. Why bother? If something's going to take me out, I'd rather it be something I enjoy, let's be honest. No one wants to be Gillian McKeith. Still, I mean, if you're not English, you probably wouldn't know who Gillian McKeith was. She's some dietitian person that used to be on TV telling people how bad their diet was for them and how they could be so much healthier if they did what she said. And you look at her and she basically looked like a dried up prune. Then you look at Nigella Lawson, who's cooking with cream and fat and butter, and damn, son, food looked good and she looked good. Howdy, Ricky, how you going? Hope you got your burbs all sorted out. So I'm thinking about Nigella. And if Dan is still listening while he's driving, stop thinking about Nigella or you'll be turning the indicators on, man. And she was the daughter of the Chancellor of the Exchequer at one point, Nigel Lawson. Rest in force, scrubbing up the houses. Family all left this morning. Woohoo! I know it's, yeah. Let's be honest, no matter how much people love their family and enjoy having their family visit and having big gathering and lots of family time, everyone likes it when they all bugger off again, when they all leave and go back to their home. And you can finally sit in your armchair and scratch your nuts without worrying about offending anyone. You cock your leg and drop your guts, and no one's going to complain because they're just used to it. Well, some of the conversations at work have been fairly similar to that this week. I hate every single one of them. You and me both, Ricky. I've not had anything to do with my family since I was 18, so thanks, but so sorry, Eric. I'm COVID positive, so take my money. Well, thank you very much, Eric. Always appreciated, never expected, and stay safe and stay as well as you can. Plenty of fluids, paracetamol, Mountain Dew, Gatorade, all that kind of thing. Stay away from rocks. You might collapse and hurt yourself. No, thank you very much, Eric. You did. Ow. Don't try talking and carrying on the conversation while you're lighting a cigarette. Ow. Burnt my finger. You make everyone else smile, even when you feel like doo-doo butter. With them for the will. So I didn't get that choice. They kicked me out when I was 11. But yeah, it's hopefully you get well soon, Eric. You're young and healthy, so you should be able to boot up the backside fairly rapidly. I'm old, broken, and unhealthy, and I kicked out the backside within a few days. Quarantine thyself and play video games between naps and streams. Exactly. It is the perfect opportunity to go, no, I have COVID. I cannot go out and do these things you want me to do. I had to stay home and quarantine myself. And howdy, Mike. As I've now figured out what your name actually is, rather than just calling you Austin. Yeah, I'm really crap at names. That's why I work retail. Yeah, it's because I say names so badly that I actually appreciate that not only I have my name badge on, so I know what my name is, all my colleagues have their name badges on, so I don't have to worry about forgetting their names. Oh, God. Oh. Well, long range get well hugs to you and Mrs. Rock. You can be as sedentary as you like for the next few days, apart from the twins being twins. Very blurry. What, me or your vision? One or the other. Probably me. I mean, if it's the tanks, that's because they're all got bacterial blooms in, and that's because the wall is painted white behind that one. So, well, the wall's painted white behind all the tanks. It's just I got too excited to set them up, and then didn't paint the backs of the tanks before I put them up. So I'm wondering if I just literally get a black sheet, a bedding sheet, thing you put on your bed and sleep under, then like pin it along the back, whether that would work as a background, because I really don't want to be trying to drag that thing out. Call me whatever you want. Don't tell me that, because I'll start calling you things I'm not allowed to say on YouTube. It's not just an Aussie thing, it's also an English thing where if you like someone, you insult them when you speak to them. Yeah, it might be, but I can always just get a pair of scissors and chop it up. And then put a nice neat hem down the end that I chopped. Single sheet probably wouldn't be too far off. soon bodge something together. Got pattern cloth behind the 75. Looks great. Oh, tartan. Oh, 70s paisley pattern. That'd be awesome. Fish would probably throw up everywhere. I wouldn't want to do it, but I've got a Floor Johansson blankie. I wouldn't want to do it because I enjoy snuggling with my Floor Johansson blankie. It's the only way I'm ever going to have a head in my crotch, let's be honest. Garbage bag on the back of 125. Yeah, exactly. These things work. It might not look great close up, or it does the trick. Because I do think if I stuck a black background behind that, it would just kill all that reflection and stuff going on back there. Might actually be able to see it. And Danny's got home and is thinking about Nigella. You know exactly what I mean. Nigella and Gillian McKeith are exactly the same age. It's kind of frightening. And the one that advocates the healthy eating, or advocated all the super healthy eating, is the one that looks a right mess. Whereas the one that was eating cakes and butter and cream was hubba hubba. Oh, sweet. Ricky got his visa delivered. Oh, superb. Now just hide it from your family. Oh, I've heard that story way too many times. Where people's passports are suddenly passports or visas suddenly go missing. And it turns out their family took it because they didn't want them to leave or something. Or didn't think they deserved a new start in life. Nigella is a little too close to a no-no word. I mean, her dad's name is a bit more of a no-no word. Mind you, he's actually a pretty decent Chancellor of the Exchequer. Sorry. Sprayed soapy water on back and squeegee with a bubble. Yeah, I can't actually get down the back of that. It is literally that far away from the wall. Oh dear, you have my sympathies. You're going to Exeter. So without any bubbles. Result. Yeah, Exeter. Yeah. Oh, Exeter's not too bad. At least it's not Cornwall. Or Torbay and Paynton. Ye gods. But when you get there, Reggie, at some point make a point to visit St Martin's Combe. I think that's what it's called, St Martin's Combe. It's up on the north coast of Devon. That is an absolutely stunning beach. It's made up of crushed shells. Yeah, you don't want to go to Manchester. Manchester. Imagine Delhi on a bad day, but with worse traffic and more explosions. What's this? Yeah, absolute tanker, you. How you doing, buddy? Don't say Nigella and close in the same sentence. Why do I get the feeling, Dan, that a lot of our American compadres are now Googling Nigella Lawson image search? And M&C's here as well. How you doing? All these people calling me sir. I don't know. Oh, actually, that does remind me of something I did want to touch on. Another one of those sponsorshipy things. I haven't had it, so thankfully. Not big enough channel for it to worry about. I forget what the name of it is, but it's one where they sponsor the YouTube channel and you get the big advert spiel in the middle of the video where they're going on about how you buy an area of land in Scotland and you become a lord or a lady and all these wonderful things. Yeah, established titles. Yes, it's a complete scam. They don't have the rights to make anyone a lord or a lady. They don't have the rights to sell a 1 foot by 1 foot plot of land because, according to Scottish law, you can't sell a 1 foot by 1 foot plot of land because it's not big enough to build anything on, etc., etc. So yes, if you have a YouTuber that you like and they're showing the established titles sponsorships, let them know that the whole thing is a scam. Yeah, because there will be a lot of people probably who have got these little everything they do is basically a scam. Another successful trip around the sun. So in that case, I'm guessing happy birthday, Whipsers. I thought your birthday was 25th of December. Yeah, we'll leave the religious rhetoric alone for a minute. But yeah, so if you see those ones, I forget who did the. Do you remember who made the video on it, Yellow? Because I saw that the Click did an apology video because he was doing sponsorships from them, and then they wanted to do a lot more. And he started to get a bit suspicious, and then did his research and found out. So if you had a link to that video that outs them, basically, Yellow, that would be excellent. Don't worry if you haven't, or if you can just remember the channel name. I can't. As I said, it's a name, and I suck with names. But yeah, so be careful. Scam. As I say, they aren't all that obvious. So, we're having an argument in the kindergarten. A couple of the adults are obviously unhappy with how one of the sub-adults has been treating the fry. Mr. Sharpe. Just Sharpie, John, Oi, Woogie, whatever. Well, thank you very much, Ella. There we go. There's the link to proving that the established titles is a load of BS. Because, yeah, you don't become a lord or a lady by buying a small piece of land. Scottish law is the same as English law in that regard. You either have to inherit it, i.e. your parents were lord or lady and then they died and you became lord or lady, or you have to buy a piece of land that is a lairdship or lordship, a barony or some such. Basically a massive stately house. Those are the only ways you can become a lord or a lady. Not by spending $138 with a website. If it was that easy. Yeah, it's a nice gift, but you have to understand it's absolutely a scam. And also, there's no evidence that they're actually doing anything about planting trees and making the world a better place. So yeah, I think the knives are just standard knives made in China that are rebranded and finished a little bit better and put in a Ponzi box. Yeah, it's one of those things. I've seen them and I just don't pay attention because it's an advert. Yeah, marrying into the family. Yeah, that's the other way. Wife's auntie and uncle bought a foot square piece of land so they could put lord and lady. Yeah, and they can't. That's illegal representation. Technically means their credit cards are fraudulent. Yeah. Better off giving directly to a charity that does reforestation, or just buy a bloody tree and plant it. It's really not that hard. Better not be a scam. Bought 1,000 of them per house. I think the thing is that they do own the land that they're selling off foot by foot, but Scottish law does not recognise them as plots of land. It's yeah. Got a funny feeling they might be getting in trouble with Scottish Parliament. Yeah, knighthood, no, because you have to be knighted yourself to become a knight. So if I did something amazeballs and got knighted by King Charles, my future offspring wouldn't be knights. Um, it wouldn't go down the line. Yeah, Sir dies out with the person it is. It's only actual titles: Lord, Lady, Baron, Baronet, Marquis, Marquess, Prince, Princess, those kind of things, and up the chain that are hereditary. Yeah, it's always been bestowed upon the knight by royalty. Tell that to Michael Knight. Yeah, we all know Kit was the star of that. Maria. Yeah. I mean, Knightley, Sir Sharpe, Duke of Farts, Il Duce. Well, that was Mussolini called himself Il Duce, and he wasn't the Duke of anything either. So I should have told you. Oh, the old Italian captain out of a lower low. It's in Hollywood movies. I know how it works. That's one of those rare cases where Hollywood actually gets it right. Um, I was watching one of Drakinifel's videos the other day, and he was saying about Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor and the Midway movie. Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor is actually factually more accurate than the Midway movie, which they were going on about how factually accurate it was and how awesome and research, and no, they got it completely wrong. Completely the wrong kind of ships for a start. Yeah. Aliens don't have glowing fingers and ask to phone home either. Honourable Viscounts, shut. Oh, Viscounts. Oh, can't beat a good mint Viscount. They're a biscuit, by the way, if you weren't aware. I think Rear Admiral would probably be a better title for me. Even some of the Transformers movies are documentaries. Sorry to break it to you. Neither was American Pie. And Peter Pan was the bad guy. Captain Hook was the good guy in that movie. If you think about it, logically. Yes. Yeah. Trying to remember why I've got this set up on top of this tank here, but never mind. As we've done a bit of naval. HMS King George V. Yes, Peter Pan kidnapped children and took them away and groomed them. Yes, Captain Hook was actually trying to free the children from the evil Peter Pan. Yeah. Well, could you imagine if, like, Hollywood kiddies movies and Disney movies were actually accurate to the story they were telling? Jurassic Park did not have David Attenborough. Hook battled the Predator in that story. He did indeed. Mm. Yeah. The crocodilio. Yes. Is that actually Spanish for crocodile? Crocodilio? I think it is. Something tells me it is. I don't normally randomly come out with foreign words and get them right. Get them wrong, sorry. I've watched one too many Spanish horror movies. Damn you, Guillermo del Toro. Mind you, on that front, I should be able to speak Korean as well, the amount of them I've watched. But at least with most of the European languages, they have the similar base languages way back when, so some words are fairly similar. Speaking of aliens, an older gentleman told me there are alien bases on the moon and have been for years. Yes. I think we might be aware if there were. As I was trying to say to someone the other day about Area 51. No, no. They have aliens and alien spacecraft in Area 51. No, they do. That's where they are. I'm like, no, that's where they want you to think they are. That may be where they were originally, but as soon as people twigged, they got moved somewhere. Now everyone's looking over there while they're actually over here somewhere. Probably in downtown Brooklyn. Yeah, it's made a career out of it. Yeah, Area 52. Was it Depeche Mode? One of their songs, they actually rhymed career and career. Aliens in the moon has rice cake making rabbits in it. More likely to believe the rice cake making rabbits on the moon. Or a family made of spoons, and the moon is made of a button. Dan will get that one. We're off to Button Moon to kick in Mr. Spoon. Yeah. Or there's the soup dragon up there. One of them. Yes, that's where the band The Soup Dragons got their name from. Next. Random factoids with Sharpe. Putting 60s children's TV together with 90s bands. Yeah, I need more caffeine. Must. Can you imagine what I was like when I was doing illegal substances? This is how random my brain is, completely straight and sober. Rice cake rabbits, actually Japanese myth, don't know the origin. Might be an interesting one to look into. Probably got nothing to do with Rabbit Island, but you never know. I might come back there. How many tanks do I have now? Running at the moment, 14. We'll be back to 15 again soon. Probably New Year. but I want to get it down a bit because let's be honest, 1,500 plecos is too many plecos. I would like to actually be able to like split spawns and reduce the stocking density in the fry rack here. Maybe even get a spare tank that I can use as a quarantine tank, and actually move stock through and buy new fish and have to put them. And yeah, when I was out of work for however long it was, over a year. Yes, I do sell them, Ricky. I supply the local store. This is 1,600 is too many. 1,500 is just right. But it's ludicrous the amount of filter cleaning, degunking, food I eat. Hello, Thomas. How are you doing? Hope all is well. So I do want to get the numbers down. So while I was out of work, that was my sole source of income, really, other than YouTube. So I wanted as many as I could to sell as many as I could. The tanks are looking a bit cloudy because they are cloudy. It's bacterial blooms going on because, well, each one of them has got at least 150 bristle noses in it, or about 50 limias and 3,000 snails. Yeah, I've done the tests. There's no ammonia in the water. It is literally just bacterial blooms because the bioload on the tanks are ludicrously high. That's pretty much what it is. I found that one L027A pleco. No, Thomas is still battling with staghorn. I've not had staghorn algae, so I haven't had to fight that one, fortunately. But unfortunately, it means I don't know how to battle it and get rid of it. I'm pretty sure there's a certain bristlenose in there that would eat it, though. Yes, she's very strange. She eats blackbeard algae quite happily. I had 40 run at one time, 25 back up to 32. Yeah, had to divide up some of the shellies and live bearers from getting overrun. Yeah, that's what's happened with me. That's why I'm having to cull spawns of bristlenoses. I say cull, I'm taking the eggs out and just freezing the eggs so they're dead, rather than culling live fish, because that just seems so much worse to me. Not just on the fact that you're killing the fish, but poor male bristlenose has sat there fanning away for 5 days for no really good reason otherwise. So I'd be the person that brings kudzu into the country because funny. Yeah. Oh, there's worse things that have been brought into the UK from the US. How do you staghorn? Yes, one else. I don't think there's anything that actually eats it. Oh, black. Yeah, don't. Yeah. I like the way blackbeard algae looks. It's cool. Like long black hair flowing in the wind. It does look really cool. But like most algae, people don't want them in their tanks because they think they're bad. Some of them are. I mean, blackbeard or staghorn is probably the worst. Actually, cyanobacteria, although it's not technically an algae. Then you get the, oh my god, I've got algae in my tank. Look at my new moss balls. They're algae. What's my favourite fish at the moment? Hard to say, really. I don't really have. Well, little dude is cool because that's the newest fish I've got is the Apistocacatoides quad reds. Shellies are cool. I always enjoy watching the shellies because they're just nuts. They're always doing something silly. The happy caras, the nanacaras, the limias, the bristlenoses, the cories. I don't think I've got any fish I'm not a fan of. The cubitais. Yeah, I think I like all my fish. I haven't been raised dying on hair algae. I'm assuming you mean dine, not die. Um, yeah, raised, they got that kind of mouth, haven't they? So, still trying some pistos. Yeah, it's a tricky one because it all depends on what your water's like. Um, and I have very hard water, which is probably not the best for a pistos, but I do love a pistos. Favorite plant? Oh, probably the Anubias nana because it just grows, doesn't do anything bad, and yeah, just grows crazy in my tanks for some reason. Oh, thanks again, Yellow. Yeah, the Anubias nana because I mean I bought one of them and it's spread between what 4 tanks now. Um, have one opened up, it was growing in the gills. Oh my god. I guess they probably munched on a bit and it got stuck there and kind of took root, something like that. Yeah, have fun, Whipsus. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Rock on. Um, yeah, Epissos would do very well in black water tank. That was one of my thoughts was to move them over into the black water tank when I get that bought and set up. But currently, I'm thinking the Nanakara would probably do better because I have bred Epistos in my normal tanks with normal water conditions. So we're probably okay there, but the Nanakara, and they're probably all hiding. Well, I say all, probably both hiding up. I do that a lot. Well, they're absolutely gorgeous fishies. Where are you, Nanakaras? Come on, come say hello. Peeps says want to see you. I want to see you. Oh, pardon me. They're in there somewhere. If you've not seen a Nanakara, then they're basically like the electric blue Akara, just about that big. Accidentally made a black water tank. Yeah, it's this. Pistos are too small, should have been a bit bigger. Yeah, I say it depends. Given the size tanks I generally have, 15 gallons and under for most of them, the pistos are pretty much the perfect size. Yeah, let's have a look around at some fishies, shall we? If we, oh god, got the laptop sat on the camera cable. So, as I was saying about the shelly dwellies, get the camera straight might help. And if we go down the back there, see some of the babies out and about, but that is where they've got a little nursery set up down there. There's blooming dozens of them down there, trust me. And adult shelly dwellies. Pretty little fishies. Aim the camera up a bit and let's see if we can see anyone. Oh, there we go. Utter camera ham. The EBA, albino cories. Oh, escape pleco. Baby limia. More limia. Oh, dwarf neon rainbow is looking a bit second hand. I think he's got some kind of tumour. But yeah, more limias. Yes, all the females are pregnant in there. I'll try and keep an eye out, see if I spot the nanacaras at any point. Oh, I might be lucky. They might be on eggs somewhere. Chances are they're probably just asleep. Oh, we go over here. Yeah, there's one tank of bristly noses. G'day, Marquis Mark, you bunyip botherer. And we've got the lights are starting to go off over here, but yeah. Snails and linears. Bristle noses, bristle noses, bristle noses, bristle noses, bristle noses, bristle noses. Oh, we might be able to see some baby pelvic acromis. Oh, just under the female. There you go. Little cloud of baby pelvic acromis. Yeah, we won't try and aim the camera over there. Oh, go on straight. That's better. So there we go. That's what's around at the moment. Yeah, that's gone at a weird angle, hasn't it? Why is that a weird angle? Ugh. Come on. Stop playing silly buggers, camera. That's more like it. That's a more normal angle. Oh, let's see what Thomas has got. Neons, Harlequins, better, Gem Blue Rounds, Garamis, Bandit Coys, Panda Coys, Bronze Coys, White Clouds, Rummy Nose, Glow Lights, Demanos, Ottos, and some Goldies. Now, the only Goldies I've got are outside in the pond, which is 3 orange comets, 1 yellow comet, and a standard goldfish. Do only have a few neons and need more. Scared of neon tetra disease, understandable. Using Dutch angles to denote a state of confusion by the cinematographer. Yeah, no one ever said I was any good at cinematography. It's all about the angle of the dangle, apparently. Yes, we're back to euphemisms as per the title. And hey, I live in a state of permanent semi-confusion. And it's a good place to be. Things make more sense then. Let's rotate the rate a little bit. There we go. Some of the pond and some ranchu. Cool. Oh, the ranchu's what I call the wiggle butts. They haven't got a dorsal fin. I never remember which one it is. It's either a randu or a ranchu. Always seen my neons eat mollies. How have you kept them in peace? I mean, the neons would eat the molly fry, but a full-grown molly would probably be able to eat a neon. Hey, George. Oh, there he is. Hello, George. How you doing? I knew I'd missed someone. Yeah, goldfish in a 240 gallon. It certainly cut the energy bill from heating a 240 gallon tank, that's for sure. I don't know if they're available in the US because I'd have thought most fish are probably available over there. But if you could get hold of some Carassius auratus, I'm going to keep banging on about these because they're the most gorgeous fish there are. The Crucian carp. If I pop that in the chat, then people will know what to Google. Spelling might not be correct, but meh. Guarantee if you see one of those, you'll fall in love. Fish I've actually bred: bronze cories, otters, goldfish, guppies, obviously, and zebra danios. Well, there's some on the list that I've not bred. I've not bred any danios. Egg scatterers I've not bred any of, I don't think. Got to get my GBR to breed. I think I've got male and female, but they don't like each other. That's, in my experience of dwarf chicklets, if the male and female don't like each other, there's more chance they're actually going to breed. If they're all super friendly, nothing tends to happen, is what I've found. Got two 240s and a 310. Jeez. Yes. You see, in the UK, any of those would be considered an absolute monster tank. Now, if you start talking about those sizes in litres in the UK, that's a large tank. Because that's a 55, and that's considered a big tank. That's actually what I call it. I call it the big tank. Yeah, I mean, I've had GBRs. Sorry, I've had rams spawn and have eggs. Then the yo-yo loaches ate them all. I've not actually bred rams. Rams really don't do well in my water. It's just way too hard for them. That's why the Shelleys do so well. I mean, that's just tap water. I don't add anything. Basically, the water comes out my tap like Lake Tanganyika. So, you know, if I was a big fan of sand and rockscapes and whatever, then great. Yeah, maybe Thomas's GBRs are more traditional. I need to get married first. Yeah, play them the wedding march. Might work, you know. If the wedding march doesn't work, Reptile by 9 Inch Nails might. Yeah, trying to think, what have I bred? Oh, so we got platies, mollies, guppies, Paliatus cories, bristlenoses, super red bristlenoses, crebensis, ocellated crebensis, histogramma cacatoides. There's probably some more on the list. Shrimp, snails. There are probably some more on the list that I can't remember. Shelleys. Breeding Shelleys is a bit like breeding guppies. Oh dear. And here's me saving up for a new 15-gallon tank. Yeah, but the Fluval Flexes in the UK are now £175 each. So yes, not a fan of metal, sand and rock. So chucking 100 escargot shells. Wow. Yeah, have a good night, Ricky. Sweet dreams. Howdy, Chewy. Welcome aboard. Yeah, I was. It's obviously got the Similis and the Maltese, the Ockies and the Brevis and the various other flavours of Shelly. There is a giant shell dweller. Now, I know they're not going to fit in an escargot shell. What do you use for those? African land snail shells? Conch shells? 3-inch PVC pipe? Pleco caves? You've got a shell dweller that's like 4 or 5 inches long. You think, what the hell shell does that live in? The closest I could think was that might end up in Lake Tanganyika was probably something like the giant African land snails. or apple snails, possibly, if apple snails are endemic to that region. Probably not. There might be some flow. Yeah, it's all right. My hair's getting all tangled up. Washed it again this morning and it got all wind blown and interesting earlier. Calypteris get pretty big, well, males do. Yeah, it's what the heck size shell is? You know, if you got a shelly that's that size, what the hell shell is it going to fit in? I'll have to ask Mr. Sean, Mr. Ooted, see what he says. This is the kind of thing. If I see some, it'd be do I get a pair? But then again, it's one of those things where most people around here anyway, aren't going to have a tank that's suitable for giant shellies. I'd say something like a Blue Flex 15 is perfect for normal size shellies, the friendly ones anyway. And it's an easy to look after tank that doesn't take up a huge amount of space. Yes, because our homes are smaller, yes, we have smaller fish tanks. In general, there are some people with large tanks, but even then they tend not to get much above 400 litres, which is 100 gallon. And what I've noticed is they don't get longer and they don't get deeper front to back. They just get higher and higher and higher. So you end up with a fish tank that you can't reach the bottom of without needing extra long handled tools and things. And I like getting my hands wet, getting my hands in the tank and doing the work. Everything in England is smaller. Yeah. Yeah, but it takes longer to get anywhere than it does in America. That's probably because our roads are a lot smaller and there's always roadworks everywhere. Shots fired. Yeah, but it's not the size, it's the quality. We've got the history as well. Yeah. Trying to think what we might have bigger in the UK. Well, we've certainly got bigger cathedrals. Like the blue ocellatus, but also like the Maltese acimalis and the brevis. Oh, I say, shellies are awesome little fish, and they're perfectly suited for the kind of tanks that British people have and the water in this area. Ideal tank would be 6x2x2. Had a 6x16x16, just not enough. A few inches makes a big difference. We'd all like a few more inches, Danny boy. Are any of the bristlenose I'm breeding longfin? Yes, the super reds are. Because the female is absurdly long finned and the male is short finned. So we get a roughly 50-50 mix. Are there any? There's a bubble. Yeah, if we grab the Cami Rara, get the jaundice shot again. So aim it roughly in the right place. So you've got a long fin and a short fin. As you can see, the sheer size of the fins on the long fins I've got. Tells you what the mum looks like. And the mum is about 6 inches long and 50% fin, if not more. Swapped out for the dual 450, missing 6 feet. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I have. So I thought about it. Either the Megaflex or another one of these. So I think putting two of these next to each other would look cool, but And it's like, well, what would I keep in it? And if you breed longfin to longfin, you should get all longfins. So I'm breeding longfin to shortfin, which is why I'm getting about half and half mix. I mean, these it's a common male and a sunshine female, and they all come out common. All shortfin, obviously. And I see these a male green dragon pleco. I mean, that's one of my hopes for the Blackwater tank is if I put my clown plecos in there and then gradually bring the pH down so I don't pH shock everything I put in there. Raise a lot of pleco at a 6x16. I mean, come on, Dan, you got to remember, I work on a 2 feet per gallon when it comes to pleco stocking levels. Or smelly, yeah, or shellies, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I had a 6 foot tank and I did decide to do shellies in it, yeah. There would be a lot of shellies in there. There will be a lot of rock work and probably some Brichardes and Julidochromis as well. Yeah, that was one of the thoughts I had for a Megaflex. It was basically because the filter in that is in the center at the back. So I was thinking, obviously, lots of sand on the bottom for shelly dwellies, and then big rock piles up either side, into which you could then breed either your Julidochromis or your Brichardes. That's 32-gallon tanks. I wouldn't do both of them. Oh yeah, low boys are perfect for shellies. They don't need the depth. Although mine don't seem to be bottom dwellers anymore. They're up and about all over the place. I mean, there's half of them up a few inches below the surface. Also great for scud nippers. Yes. And yes, I call them scud nippers. MSC's in Kansas. If you're going to call it Kansas, you have to call it Arkansas. If you're going to call it Arkansas, you have to call it Kansas. There you go. And people say English is confusing because things can be pronounced differently when they're spelt the same. And dwarf chicklets, yes. Dwarf chicklets are the best chicklets. For the home breeder, because you can breed them in a smaller tank. Everyone's tank is big enough to take them. Hello, Jess. How are you? Hope all is well. And so I've been doing some random hours at work lately, so I tend to be at work when the morning show is on. If you're on in the morning, and if you're on in the evening, well, then I'm otherwise occupied as well. I generally go, ugh. Especially, I know for people that work full time, this is going to sound pathetic. But I had 2 8-hour days in a row this week, and that wiped me out as well. So it's weird because they flew by real fast. But yeah, it's wiped me out. Body's not used to being awake for that long. Is the problem. It's like yesterday, I was 1:15 to 6:15, and It does sound pathetic, yeah. But we work less hours in the UK compared to the US anyway. Um, and hey, I'm supposed to be on a 20-hour contract. I did 27 hours this week, so but yeah, it's 2 8-hour days in a row wiped me out. Yeah, that is the thing with the ocellatus and the brevis and the larger shellies. Is they will eat their own fry. Well, not their own. They'll eat the other one's fries. They're like they're like that woman you take on a date and goes, "Oh no, no, I don't want fries with my dinner. No, no, I just want the burger or whatever," and then nicks half your fries. Yeah, that's what the bigger shellies are like. Whereas the smaller shellies are like, "No, no, no, you keep all your fries. I'll have my own." Yes, I'm speaking from dating experience. Not with Mary, because Mary likes the food as much as I do, so that works out well. Um, yeah, so that is the other thing with the Shelly fry is they are minute. You don't necessarily spot them that quick. Wild chips, Mary. Yes, the wild Mary. And while I leave you with that wonderful thought, I'm going to have to go and drain the vein momentarily. I'll be back in probably less than a minute. Talk amongst yourselves. If you've got any questions, stick them in the chat. I'll get back to them when I come back. Oh, there we go. That's better. Ugh. That is the problem with not having any cool graphics or stuff to put up is I have to leave you quiet when I go to the loo. Pair of gold ockies. Had 8 and a 20 and they wouldn't spawn. 100 pair, no competition. Well, should do. Yeah. Given the state of my knees and back, I'm not going to be twerking anytime soon. Person in 30 long seem to be doing great. So the thing I found with Shelley's is you don't tend to know that they've spawned until you think, what? Huh? Look really close and you see this tiny little black dot move. All right, that'll be an eyeball. Because they are literally microscopic when they're first born. And I tend to feed mine with most of the time it's Hikari first bites, yeah, or the liquid fry number 2, I think it is. Does a mean truffle shuffle. Oh yeah, I can do a mean truffle shuffle. I mean, it's vertical, not horizontal, because I do actually have muscles underneath the flap. And it looks like Jess has just uploaded a video about camellanus worms, something Dan and I are overly familiar with. Yeah, a lot of work to get rid of those. The sand is bigger than the fryer. Yeah, literally. I mean, I've got quartz sand in mine, so it's a little finer, but yeah. And yes, I did use a metal plate, and for a laugh, you got to wash your sand off to get the dust and stuff out of it. So what I did was I actually panned the sand, like gold panning, and there were not a lot. There was probably half a dozen little minute flakes of flour gold in there. So worth doing if you have quartz sand, if you're a gold prospector. I fish familiar with them. Yeah. The things my fish have seen, not only do they get accidentally treated to the sight of me wandering around semi-dressed or undressed, but I also get to see ghosties as well. And live cats just randomly staring into their tank, and doesn't bother them at all. And so when Ginge comes in, he does love to sit and watch plecos. He just literally park himself in front of the tank with his nose about an inch from the glass and just it is funny to watch. See you later, M&C. Have fun. If his water changes, won't be so much fun, but they need to be done. So I think to myself sometimes, can I skip a week on some tanks? And I think, well, yeah, I could, but then it means I've got to do twice as much next week to keep the numbers where I want them. And because of the stocking levels of a lot of my tanks, the nitrate levels can get rather alarmingly high rather quickly. So, yeah, they get done every week. If it's not the nitrate levels getting alarmingly high, it's the filters getting alarmingly clogged up with muck. And you go, why are the fish all coming up to the surface all of a sudden? What's going on? And then you realise that the filter's full. Yeah. The joys of pleco breeding, cleaning out your filters every other day. It's bad when you keep a few inches of water in the bottom of your water change bucket, just so that when you see a tank, you go, hang on, that looks a bit iffy. Do the water, pull the filter out, clean the gunk out of it. There we go, sorted. It was blocked. So yeah, I mean they're the perfect tanks to test out new filters in. If any filter manufacturers are watching, I will gladly test your new filters for you. Make sure they've got a lot of sponge in them. In miniature scale, Shelley's represent certain areas of Lake Tanganyika. Yep, that's where you got all the different flavors of them, is because different ones are in different areas. Roy, how you doing? Good to see you in Tom's Facebook stream. And yes, I do have to tone myself back a bit in there. Certain people that watch that don't necessarily share my sense of humour. Yep. He's been to see a quick fit fitter. That's what it is. Or, it's not quick fit. Who is it who do the windscreens? Can't remember. Auto glass repair. Auto glass replace. Yeah. If he goes for a job at Auto Glass, he can add pictures of that to his CV. Yeah. Tom Ackrell of Freshwater Fish Keeping took a nice chunk out of one of his tanks the other day, chipped it. Thankfully, it was right on the top at the corner, so it wasn't a structural issue. But yes, he got hold of some of the resin that they used to repair. Repair the windscreens, and it worked perfectly. If anyone went close, would hook that with some Wobbin Munsters, and I'd repay the compliment with some flex of your choice. Super Reds, long fins, or commons. But yeah, you supply your area, I'll supply my area. Everyone's happy. Because the Super Reds down here will be cheaper, and the Super Reds where you are will be more expensive, but Wobbin Munsters will be cheaper. Yeah. The way things go. I think possibly I might be doing myself out of sales by having healthy fish that don't die when they get put into someone's tank. I think a lot of people think you put fish in a tank and they're going to live for a few weeks or a few months, and then you replace them. You'll first get a good price on them. £5 a fish, that's good money. If it weren't for the way the local bylaws are, I would probably get more in different stores where they sell Super Reds for a lot more money than the place I supply. So the place I supply sells the commons for £4.95 and the Super Reds and the Super Red Longfins for £9.95. So I get £1 and £3. Whereas if I go to Norwich, Maidenhead, I think the standards are £8.95 and the Super Reds are £22.50, and the Longfin Super Reds are probably £25. On the other hand, I'm also struggling to get rid. Yeah, that's what happens. So yeah, I've pretty much come to the decision now that once I started getting the numbers a bit more under control, what I will do is probably keep every spawn of the commons because they sell like hotcakes. Basically, everyone who buys a tank gets 5 neon tetras or 5 guppies and a bristlenose pleco. It's just the way it generally works. I'm close enough to shop. Well, I mean, there are Maidenheads all over the country, but yeah, closest one's Norwich, which is 20-minute drive, 3/4 of an hour on the bus. Actually, get one of the employees comes into the stream fairly regularly. Another Daniel. So yeah, I know the guys up there. Then they would take my fish, but only for store credit. And store credit's not really, or livestock credit isn't really helpful when you're trying to clear space. The only thing you can get with them is more fish. Yeah, exactly. Commons will always be good. It's the bulk sales. I know I can sell all the common plecos or common bristlenoses. Whereas the Super Reds, people don't buy so regularly. So whereas I might take in 50 or 100 commons, I'll take in 20 or 30 Super Reds at a time. And with them breeding at the same rate, yeah, I'm basically going to have to start culling every other spawn of Super Reds just to get the numbers down, because I've got, 450, 300, 450. Yeah, because I've got like 600 Super Reds at the moment, which is kind of ludicrous. I've got what, 150, 300, 450. Yeah, I've got 600 super reds and 450 standards at the moment. Never understand why anyone sells common plecos and bristlenose are $1 more. Yeah, well, generally you don't very often find common plecos for sale in the UK purely because of the size. Generally, there will be bristlenoses. There is one place I know of that does sell commons, and you try telling them, and they go, "Oh no, they sell really well." Yeah, you do realize they get nearly 2 foot long. No, they don't. They only grow to 5 or 6 inches. No, they're common plecos. What's happening is people are buying them. They're growing to 5 or 6 inches, and they're dying. How do I keep them all? With difficulty. Lots of water changes, lots of filter cleans, and buying algae wafers by the kilo sack. Grow my own courgettes. Yeah. I was a bit shocked a couple of months back when I discovered I've got more bristlenose plecos than the wholesalers keep in stock. I could supply the wholesalers. You've got an entire ecosystem. Yeah, pretty much. And there's probably a few in the wild as well around here now. On the days when it's piddling down with rain, and I don't want to be going outside to pour the water, change water on the garden, it goes down the sink. And the problem is, every so often there will be a cherry shrimp or a baby bristlenose in the water change water, and I go splodge out of the bucket and don't notice, and mine will go down the sink. So probably if you go to the local water treatment works in the wastewater section, there's probably a thriving colony of bristlenoses and cherry shrimp. If I ever get to open my own shop, I'll never sell common plecos, bala sharks, pacus, red-tailed cats, any of those monster fish that are so cheap. Yeah. I mean, the reason they're cheap is because they have massive spawns. You know, bala shark or denison barb is the other name for it, isn't it? Yeah, they're not monsters, but people buy them at like that kind of size, but they're going to grow to like that, which is way too big for most UK tanks. But yeah, I mean, I'm really taking the mickey. As I say, there were Wells catfish for sale around here at one point not too long ago. Thankfully, they've all been rehomed somewhere sensible, one of which is in the sump at my LFS. They sort of grew to 2 feet within about 6 months. Like, okay, yeah, we can't keep that. You know, yeah, exactly. And they need a big tank, a big zoomy fish. They're not. I mean, when you buy them, they're the size of a Danio, pretty much, but they soon grow a lot bigger. Yeah, managed to roll a hair into the back end of my cigarette. But, I mean, thankfully, most of the stores around here, if not all, do actually on the tanks post some info about the fish, including the size it's going to get. And so when you look at the iridescent shark, and it says 1.2 meters, 4 feet, and you're thinking, yeah, how many people have got a tank big enough for a 4-foot fish? Yeah, I mean, small tanks limits you. It does limit you keeping smaller fish. Big talking the likes of Waru. Yeah, I mean, we can get hold of Paku and stuff like that, you know, without too much difficulty. You know, it's not like you can't get them. Bigger and more specialist stores will stock the bigger fish. The LFS I go into has got arowanas, it's got rays, it's piranhas. big ass eels, like big biotope tanks for small fish. Yeah. I mean, if I had a 300-gallon tank, would I keep two fish in it? No. I'd want to keep 2,000 fish in it. It's yeah, nothing like that up there. I think you've seen the various store tour videos I've done of Swallow Aquatics, which is my local. Yeah, you can see the size of the place. When the tropical freshwater sump is big enough to keep a full-grown red-tailed cat in, and the cold water or pond section sump is big enough to house a full-grown Wells catfish. Yeah, at a reptile show yesterday, must have been five to eight vendors selling American gators for $50. Tag says get 12 to 16 foot. Not one person there could house them properly. No, exactly. And yep, selling like hotcakes, and they will be released back into the wild as soon as they get too big for the people to look after them. Imagine my lawyer's tank, 1,000-gallon with one fish in it. Yeah, I'm sure it's a very impressive fish. Yeah, a hacker would be cool, or a maboo, an maboo. Really want to upset people. Really want to upset people. Call it a naboo puffer. You'll upset the fish keepers and the Star Wars fans. Um, yes. Yeah, that's like the personality of them. They're like dogs, basically. Um, yeah, they do. I mean, fish recognise you. Fish know who their keeper is. They know who brings the food every day. Let's put it that way. Went the opposite direction. But full-grown morning gecko is about 1.5 inches. Yeah, exactly. You can probably keep one of them in them little tiny enclosures that they sell for about $10 for its entire life. As saber-tooth tetra relates to the vampire tetra one, it's commonly photographed and caught by Jeremy Wade, who had a $60 a week food bill of a lifetime. Tilapia. True, but I've had a lot of mollies now who aren't. Yeah, fish just know that when the person walks towards the tank, there's a chance they're going to get fed. And yeah, congratulations, Dan, on actually seeing the whole of your green phantom pleco rather than just its tail. But someone told you off in the comments for keeping Salvinia because folk get it into lakes and telling me I'm responsible for the invasive carp population where they live. Did they not get the clue from your accent that you might not be somewhere that silver carp are a problem? I mean, I mean, normal carp don't do too well in Scotland. I can't see silver carp doing very well. The only invasive carp we have to worry about are bloody goldfish. Koi aren't too much of an issue because the birds get them. Yeah, some people debating what pleco to get next. If you look at SJM, he's got some lovely longfin snowball or longfin snow white bristle noses. Those things are stunning. And if I had a spare tank suitable for breeding bristly noses, or that was the plan, I would get a pair off of him basketball carp are invasive here. Yeah, they're an Asian species. I mean, technically, the common carp is an invasive species here. They've been here since medieval times. Because the monks used to, breed them for food, and then they all escaped, as happens. Yeah, seen the other day, sort of stuff. Yeah, good fish, good prices, and he's top guy as well. So he recently got back because he was playing for the Welsh Paralympic team, or Welsh. Yeah, we'll go with Paralympic team because I can't remember the exact terminology. He plays wheelchair rugby at an international level. It was a happy sighting. You ran over with the camera and scared it. Yeah, wheelchair rugby. So, like wheelchair basketball, but for men. No, wheelchair basketball does get called murder ball. So, yeah, it's actually wheelchair basketball is actually more physical than actual basketball. So, makes sense. Yeah, the European perch, Perca fluviatilis, absolutely gorgeous fish. Couldn't agree with you more, Chewy. The green with the black stripes and the red fins, and a perch that big thinks it's that big. They're basically like rams on steroids, pretty much. They just got so much attitude in them, it's unreal. I've caught perch in the past using worms that were bigger than the fish. Yeah, well, the reason they're banned there, Chewy, is they will quite happily survive in your local waterways. Yeah. And they will decimate the populations of smaller fish because they are piscivorous. When they get to a certain size, they'll eat anything that fits in their mouth, and they got a huge mouth full of ruthless humour. Yeah, there's not very often any real malice behind it. I just point out what I find amusing, and plus I enjoy winding people up. Are European perch what we call the English perch or the redfin? Yeah, probably the English perch. Yeah, it's green and black stripes, spiky dorsal fin, spiky gill plates. When you've been spiked by a perch, you know about it. Very cichlid-like in looks and behaviour. Like really aggressive little buggers. You can catch them. You can catch perch on a bare hook if you use a bright silver or gold-coloured hook, and there's a shoal of small perch around. You just literally dangle it in them on a bit of line and do that. You catch perch. But yeah, I'll stick the name in chat. Perca flew the Tillis. There we go. The English perch. Stunning fish. And if I was going to keep a wild native tank, I would probably want to be putting perch in there. Problem is they probably get a bit too big. But if you've got full grown, or not full grown, if you've got adult perch, you can actually sell them quite easily. Most carp lakes will quite happily take a perch if you've got a good size one. Weird as it sounds, because they keep the populations of roach and bream under control, which they don't want in a carp lake, and they just end up in there naturally. Yeah, great fish for a pond outside all year round. Yeah, well, because they live outside all year round in Europe. I think they even made. I mean, they're definitely up in Scotland. I don't know about Scandinavian pike, but yeah, perch are basically bomb-proof. And you want to keep them in clear water if you've got them. Because if you keep them in muddy water, they lose their colours because they don't need to camouflage quite so well. Whereas if the water's clear, then they really colour up strongly. Dark olive green and the black stripes with the red fins. And the mouth that opens like a cavern. Yeah, you won't struggle getting them to accept food, let's be honest. Anything live or wriggly that goes in the tank, the perfect fish for young lads to go fishing for in the winter. Yeah, I mean, in the wild they'll easily get to 6 pound in weight and probably about that length, and they fight like demons. And in order to keep trout in Canada, you have to go through a lot of red tape. Yeah, I'm guessing so, because again, if they escape and intermingle with the native populations, you can get a lot of weird hybrids happening. Going to finally start YouTubing at some point in the next week or so. Well, if you do, right, let us know, and we'll get a linky poo shared out next week. Need to catch up on my video as well, which on the fishy one or the history one. The history one is a bit rambly. When you're covering history going back to 672 BC, AD, you're going back quite a way. It's one of those where you take the notes, but you don't really pay that much attention, and then you go, when you're reading them out, you like, yeah, okay, fair enough, yeah. Then you watch it back and you go, oh yeah, so I was talking about when East Anglia was broken up from one kingdom into two. Oh. Seen the recent cathedral work. Aren't impressed when I watch videos. Yeah. Yes, I have to. I do watch a lot of YouTube at home. I did completely waste 2 hours the other day and watched England v America. God, I could have played better than most of that England team. Got FaceAche, FishTubers notifications group, good place to share the videos and make some friends. I really should remember to share my videos. But I just keep forgetting to, like, I know I can do it in FishTubers notifications, that's not a problem. But when it comes to other groups, and if it's a group rule, it's not, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not going to go quitting a group because they won't let me post a link to my video. There are some I have quit when people have been asking questions about things, and I've done a video on the subject. So in a comment, I have posted a link to my video, and then I've been booted from the group for posting links. So the person was asking for advice on treating furry shrimp. I've got videos on treating furry shrimp. There is the advice they needed. That's what I was doing. If I'd have posted someone else's video on fixing furry shrimp, it would have been fine, not a problem, because it's my own video and therefore a lot easier for me to find the bloody link to. What laws on keeping native fish in England? I've not really looked into it too deeply. If it's a native fish and you can buy it from an LFS or a supplier, yeah, you can just keep it. I'm not sure about if you return them to the wild, but let's be honest, how many people actually worry about that, given the amount of goldfish that are in lakes or plecos that are in Florida? Yeah, I mean, the laws on taking fish from the wild are a bit stricter. Got to be above a certain size, below a certain size. the amounts and whether you can or where you can depend on the species, whether it's a public waterway or private land. Also, there's obviously if it's a privately owned fishing lake, then you can't take anything. If it's like a river that isn't privately owned and hasn't been stocked, it's naturally stocked, then you can take certain amounts. But yeah, it's crazy. So I would just buy them from a shop. It's easier. And not from a wholesale supplier where you look at the prices and you go, oh, they're quite cheap. And then you realise that, oh, you've got to buy 1,000 of them. Okay. I mean, yeah, Swallow Aquatics does stock roach and rudd, so they would be easy ones to grab. Yeah, so if I had a big native tank, it would be roach, rudd, and perch, probably with a tench and crucian carp. Yeah, I think it would probably be perch and crucian carp mostly. And yes, it is crazy how sensitive some admins can be. So just so I don't upset anyone, I just don't post links. Any small natives that I could keep in a small tank or a pond? Oh yeah, we've got the stone loach, the bullhead, the minnow, 3-spine, 5-spine sticklebacks, dace, bleak. Yeah, dace might be a bit big for some tanks, but I think the record dace is about £1. Bleak, the record is a couple of ounces, so you know. But then bleak aren't exactly interesting to look at. It's just kind of a dull silvery, kind of look like a white bait, really. What was I read the other day? The Twait shad has been refound in the UK. It was thought to be extinct in the UK. But yes, they come back again. And yeah, roach are very, very pretty. They're the bright silver with the olive green back and the red fins. The rudd are pretty similar. They're slightly deeper bodied, red fins, and a kind of bronze colour. Well, more brass than bronze, actually. But yeah, very pretty fishies. And I will eat almost anything as well. Yeah, so there's plenty that you could keep in a small tank or a pond. I think I have had roach in my garden pond before. Before it, went pear-shaped. A fish books behind me? No, that's part of my DVD collection. I have a rather sizable DVD collection, and that's just a part of it, a small part of it. I do have a few fish books, but to be honest, it's usually quicker to Google it and find it than it is to find it in a book. Yeah, most of them are probably horror movies. Yeah, pretty much. Hills Have Eyes, The Host, Hostel, History of Violence, Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay. Don't know anything about sticklybacks. Got 6 of the toothpick fish from Dan's research. Yeah. Yeah, that's some of the foods. The rest of the foods are on the coffee table. I'm trying to cut down the amount. Yeah, that's the remains of some fish science stick on the shrimp pellets, which is basically dust. So I'll give it a fry now. Yeah, I'll grab the algae wafers. That's the size I buy algae wafers in a bag, and they normally fall to about there. And yeah, a bag like that lasts me about 6 weeks. Yeah, they are the herons ones, right? Yes, I go through lots of herons wafers. They do well. They stay together a decent amount of time without disintegrating. Alga wafers are part of a balanced breakfast. Yes, they go very well with a rapashi smoothie. And anyone who has made rapashi and then stirred their coffee with the spoon they made rapashi with will understand just how foul that stuff tastes. Oh, yeah. Makes the monster lumpy. It is really not good. And on that horrific thought, my time is up. There's some other little channels just gone live. I think it was an aquarium coop or something that have just gone live. So yeah, if you go in there and you're gonna stick something in the comments, stick hashtag button moon. See how many people you confuse. So fairly well. Hello Sherry. I love common names can't pronounce. So, yeah, well, plenty of people can't pronounce the Latin names, but it doesn't stop them trying. But anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Have fun. Stay safe. Enjoy your hobbies. Have a good week. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Ah.